Hi, my name is Rich. I use the he, him pronouns. You're watching my YouTube channel where I play amazing tabletop role playing games with friends. This is Sunday, so it is time for the Intercontinental Group of Awesome. So named because we span two different continents and a number of different time zones. And Sunday afternoons for me and my UScan friends, evenings for our European buddies is when we get together and play games. We are in the winter phase of our campaign of 2021. Really, you win the match, game set match to Tyler and our run of Spire, The City Must Fall, which has been a delight. By year's end, we will bring it to a close, so I'm very excited to see how things end up. I will now hand the baton to you, Tyler.
I'm excited to see how it ends up myself. Hi there, I'm Tyler, he, him pronouns, and we are indeed playing Spire by Grant Howitt and Christopher Taylor, and we are in the midst of really kind of, that home stretch. We've only got a bit more to go. We've had a lot of things happen, and so I won't try to do too much recapping. Folks should watch it. But we, last time around, broke out a prisoner from the Hive, the high security prison of Spire, learned a little bit more of the Steries' activities and how they are trying to take down the ministry. And we saw a little bit as we were ending, a couple of little snatches, snippets of things that were hitting our players kind of back at home, both good and bad. We have some who have personal quests they are on. We have some that have personal growth they are on, and some who are having to watch over the things they love and care about as horrors encroach upon them. And with that, why don't we hear about these wonderful characters? And maybe if you want to drop in something that you had at the end of last time, or something that we had some advancements and we talked a bit about them, but if you want to tell the folks at home a little about those, just some little something that has happened. But we're going to start dead center. We know him, we love him. Rich, tell us about your
character. I am playing Ermith Fleck, the Lajan, or priest of Limier, our goddess of the moon and moonlight. And I'm going to brag about an advance. I took a medium advance that called to me so hard, mostly in Zordan's voice. I have taken the medium advance, Our Lady's Kiss. The goddess's protection presides over your allies. When a nearby ally named Zordan marks stress to blood or mind, you may mark D3 stress to mind to cast this spell. If you choose to do so, Zordan instantly removes D6 blood or mind stress before the GM rolls for fallout. In addition, when you guide a person to a gentle death in the arms of the lady, refresh.
Lovely. Very, very cool. And I think last time as we ended, we saw some of the Steries members there at the chapel having a suggestion that you and your congregation take on the badges and fall under the protection of Steries. Next up, Jen, introduce yourself. Tell us about that character.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jen. I use she, her pronouns. I'm playing Fonara Alfrey, who also uses she, her pronouns. For her medium advance, I selected Azur's Grace, which helps her smooth things over with divine aid. It increased her shadow and reputation resistances and allows her to mark D3 stress to silver to remove D3 reputation or shadow stress marked against myself or an ally. So, just here's some money, kid. Ignore it. Very classic there. At the end of last session, Fonara had received a messenger. A messenger with possibly a very expensive message, but worth it.
Indeed. Excellent. Thank you very much. Next up, Jan. Introduce yourself. Tell us about your character.
Hi, my name is Sean. I use he, him pronouns. I will be playing Zordan. Also use he, him pronouns. And Zordan is a knight. I also took a new medium advance. It is one from the Vigilite extra advances, which the Vigilites are a fanatic cult of the fanatic cultists of the Crimson Vigil, or in other words, the followers of Lekole, the Blood Moon goddess. And, you know, since Zordon was literally blessed by the Blood Moon goddess, it seemed fair. I can now turn my pain into yet more pain, returning it tenfold. When my total stress is 6 or higher, which it has been for many sessions, my weapon die increases in size by 1 step.
Which is truly impressive.
Yes, because my weapon die is already a D10, I think.
Whew.
If I'm not mistaken, let me check.
I believe so.
D8, so it will be D10.
D10. And we know that you are on quite a quest at the moment, which...
Yes, I am indeed still, because I didn't quite succeed yet, and even left behind the wonderful gift of Lekole that she gave me to complete my quest. Left it behind at the doorstep of the Grail tavern somewhere deep under the river, guarded by a giant eel.
Ooh, so exciting. And last but certainly not least, Alex, introduce yourself. Tell us about the character.
Hi, I'm Alex. I use he, him, and I play Gerald, who also uses he, him. And he is the spy, the sneaky, using disguises and such. And I think he's a bit, ironically, he's a bit worried about Vizar's mental state after the hive incident. Vizar seemed to be a little off in some way. But they're off doing some other thing else this session. So he is going to be stepping into the high society circles in more ways than one, because he's got a new move.
Want to tell us about the new move?
Yes, it is the Masterless mask. I get to become an avatar of the rebellion. I create a mask. I've shown you guys the mask. You create a mask that is whispered of in Elfir circles. The Masterless mask. The terror of the Elfir, scion of the Red Moon, who will visit their doom upon them. When you wear it, you roll with mastery and inflict D8 stress when you attack an Elfir, regardless of what weapon I'm using. What's more, each night, a drow in Spire prays to you to deliver them from their masters. I get to refresh anytime that happens. 10 or so people praying to me removes D3 stress. 100, D6 stress, and 1,000 or more will remove D8 stress. So,
wow.
If I can make a statement, I can probably remove more stress.
That is super cool. And that was your high advance that you'd kind of been sitting and waiting on, right?
That is.
All right. And it seems that the Red Moon is getting a little bit more of her claws into our old cell. All right. That is fantastic. Well, what we're planning on doing this session is we're going to try and do a little high and low storytelling because wanted to get a little bit of the feel of what's going on in Spire and how y'all can do some bigger things that are a little more, I don't know, a little more complicated, I suppose, than just like moment to moment missions or moment to moment encounters. So we should think on these high-end things of stuff you want to work on that can take a little time. We can work through that time. I see us having no problem with this, spreading over weeks or, or a month, something in that sort of thing. And then when we have need or when we have interesting things we want to do, we'll send her back in. And we'll have role play one-on-ones or with NPCs if that's something that's going to help with the tension, or if there's stuff you want to talk to each other about individually. As mentioned, we are missing Sabine. They're a little under the weather. We miss you, and we look forward to seeing you back next time. But I think I want to start off. Aramitz, when you got back to the chapel, as I said, there had been a contingent from the Staries who had come and, wanting to offer you protection, suggesting that you should have your congregation take on the badges so that the awful things that are down here in the Spire down here that are dangerous, you would have their protection, their help looking out for that, because it'd be a real shame if something happened to your nice chapel here,
I cannot remember, and I can look through notes if you want, but I just now pulled down my notebook. Did this lady provide a name?
The one that was there meeting
her
with
name?
you?
Yeah, the one who made the offer of the badges.
We'll put a name down on them. Lady Eclair.
Lady Eclair, thank you for your generous offer. My partner, Yvette, has informed me that you have made many similar gestures towards the people of this chapel, to our flock. I must respectfully decline, because I wish for their faith to be in Limier when she shines upon them.
I understand your trepidation, Father. Rest assured, the Staries leave the protection of their souls in your hands. We look towards their bodies. Hunger, violence are so rampant. And we would wish to alleviate that dark shadow upon them.
That is intriguing, Lady Eclair. Could I perhaps pray upon this with Yvette as we consider this?
Of course, Father. We would never wish to rush you into a hasty decision. Staries is here for the long haul. We will be keeping an eye on you regardless.
Thank you. I appreciate what you have offered. Would it be possible that I could have one of the badges to pray upon? A symbol of what it is that you are offering to my people.
Of course, Father. She'll reach into a pouch and pull out one. Take this as a sign that we are optimistic. You will choose wisely.
Of course. I will choose with what wisdom the Mie gives me. I hope that we are able to find an accord, Lady Claire.
I'm sure we will. Staries believes very strongly that Spire has, for too long, been oppressed by the Alfir, and it is the freedom of our religion that will give us strength in the future. Men like you and your dear companion here, Yvette, are needed in the struggles ahead.
And that I wholeheartedly agree.
And she turns with her companions, and they walk off.
Yvette, these badges are poison. These people wish to subjugate us. We will never allow this. We cannot.
If you say so, Aramis, but already the neighborhood, I see these badges everywhere.
I know. As have I, my love.
The lady will provide.
Yes, she will.
And she'll take your hand as you go back into the chapel.
Yep.
Sorden, we had saw last time you and Finara had a conversation about kind of your need to go deeper. And Finara had worked out a certain deal, signed a contract with you on this. Why don't we have the two of you, and we can kind of take this again in that little lift up. What are the two of you doing to try and help in the means of this quest?
Well, honestly, the largest aspect of my assistance is probably looking around for an alternative to get deep into the river. You know, something other than the Tom Bell.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I'm not sure I even want this to be dependent on a role. I'd rather hear, what approaches do you think you're going to go after here? Are you looking into technology? Are you looking into magic? What means do you think would best serve in this?
Well, technology's already failed us, so I think magic is probably the best way forward.
All right. Couple of things that can pop to mind. You do know a blood witch of considerable power.
True.
And the power of blood magic is considerable, and it is especially useful for things of the body.
Yeah, then I like the idea because, you know, just sort of loops back in. You know, we know that blood witch, we know that character. I don't remember her name because
that's Molly.
Molly, yes. So I think having a little bit more Molly on screen is, you know, always choice.
Okay. And Sorton, are there things that you're doing to prepare yourself for the quest?
I think that Sorton.
So maybe some rest.
Yes, this is the thing. Sorton is frustrated and he can't think of anything to do, and is so probably just drinking.
All right. So you wish to take an actual rest.
I will engage in reckless excess.
Well, I was thinking if you want to take an actual rest, we could get rid of all of your stress and any minor fallout you happen to have. But I will advance my machinations.
No, we'll just be drinking.
Okay. Oh, jeez.
No. Screw your machinations.
All right, then. Well, in that case, I think a couple of days of hard drinking is probably worth a D6.
All right. Let's have a look. Here comes the one. Yep, it's the one.
Should have let me do some machinations.
No.
Then, but all right, with you looking for Molly, getting word out for you is not difficult. You have lots of connections, and do you wish to meet with her just you, or do you arrange that she'll meet with you and Zordon together?
I think it's a little bit more fun for everybody if Zordon's there too.
I agree. So I think that knowing where he'll be, you arrange for her to come to the Kraken Bell, and you arrive to find Zordon well in his cups.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd love to hear you tell him.
Zordon, you might want to switch to meat and water. I've got a guest for us.
Guest to do it. Are you paying for the drinks?
That's to be determined. However, I will pay for the meat and water.
Oh.
And I'll just raise my hand and order something. Molly's agreed to meet with us here.
Wait, who?
Old one. Bloodwitch.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I've figured that since technology's already failed us, let's see what magic can do for us. And she's one of the most skilled sorcerers that I have in my little address book. Not that she has an address. Anyhow.
Your address book is not even little.
No, it's enormous, but it's a diminutive. It's because I'm affectionate towards it. Not in a weird way. Goodness, you're fun when you're sauced.
A loaf of bread and a fish stew arrives for Zordon.
One for me too.
Of course, ma'am.
As Fanara has never been snobby about food.
And the bread is not bad. The stew is very fishy.
Means it's good.
Means it's good.
It's not made out of giant eel, and that would make it better.
Oh boy. I've heard that there are a few river communities down south, and they actually take eel and they barbecue it in a sweet, tangy sauce.
It needs a lot of sauce.
It's a lot of sauce.
Oh, I love barbecued eel.
And then he goes, to a lot of sauce.
Which is different than Spire eels, which are just boiled.
Oh, terrible.
As you're tucking in a bit and maybe sort of a little bit of the haze is starting to lift. And I think you see that Thorza has come over, of course, and is a little pleased to see this progressing. The door opens and Molly comes in. If we remember, she is a very old drow. Drow age slowly, but she shows the signs of it, wrinkled like a little prune. Around her shoulders, you see her cat. And as she comes in, there's a little bit of the side eye and a little bit of a hush from the knights who know her by reputation. They certainly do not get in her way as she walks over to the table and sits down.
I think just before, she might hear this. It depends on how good her ears are. But Soren goes to Fnair oh, cat lady.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You're right. I've forgotten certain identifying details.
As she moves across, she will look to the bartender and just make a motion, and he pulls a bottle from beneath the table and sends over a glass of wine for her to sit down with. Fedara, Sorden, it is nice to see you again.
Absolutely. Thank you for meeting us.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I am happy to reacquaint myself with friends and allies who provided such great service to me before. I have been enjoying a world free of that horrid bitch.
Good.
But I suppose we're not just here to celebrate old victories.
No, we're here to plan new ones, hopefully.
Oh, and what can a poor old woman do to help two such young and vibrant people?
That's Sorden, I think you should explain.
What? But I'm not young and for vibrant.
You're at least vital.
Okay. I need to go swim deep. Like really deep.
Yeah.
He seeks to explore the sunken areas of the river.
Oh.
The deeply sunken areas.
Lower than 100.
I see. Into the river. There are many dangers in the river.
Giant eels.
Oh, I had not heard of those before.
And neither did I. They're this big.
My gracious.
It's just the mouth. Not.
Oh.
It's not. This would be a large.
Width, not length, is, I believe, his expression.
Yes.
And going deep beneath the river has intrinsic dangers as well. I have been told that, first, of course, you can't breathe water. But the further...
I found that out.
The further down you go, the actual weight of the river causes tremendous damage to a person.
Yeah, it hurts.
I don't know how I can help with a giant eel.
Consider the giant eel off the table.
But I can help withstand the dangers of the river's pressure. And there are ways to get around the breathing issue.
Like what?
I've been told, and she sort of leans in, there have been slivers seen in the city. Some of them allow you to go without breath. There are surgeries that can be performed that will provide you with gills like unto a fish.
I do want to go back up again.
I believe the surgery allows you to do both. I can also do certain temporary modifications that will allow you to hold your breath for considerable lengths of time. But the pressure, that is the true hindrance. And as it turns out, I do have a means of helping you there.
How's that?
The danger, people believe, is that your body will be crushed by it, but it is not really your body you need to worry about. It is your blood. And blood is something that I know very well.
Oh, me too.
Yes, we do have that in common. I can strengthen your blood, make it more resilient to these depths.
Okay.
That sounds like the whole of this part of the problem solved then.
Uh-huh.
Now, between friends, I am happy to do this, but it is unfair, of course, for me not to receive a little something in return.
Of course. What would satisfy your considerations?
Why do you wish to go down there, Zordon?
I need to I need to go visit the saint.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Beneferous.
Well, in that case, when you speak with him, what is it you intend to do?
I don't know. I just need to go talk to him. That's all they told me.
They?
Yeah.
Who are they?
Well, you know, Damnu.
The three-faced lady has spoken to you.
I probably shouldn't have said that.
And like, if she's trying to read my face for any reaction, it's pretty clear that I actually believe Zordon.
Ooh.
You get from her that she does too. Well, if that is the case, then they have designs upon you. And they do not ask favors lightly.
I think they think that he needs to take a break.
In that case, I know my price. A drop of his blood.
I mean, I wasn't planning on getting into a fight with him.
You could just ask for it, Zordon.
Have you ever? Okay, you can probably pull that off. Like you can get someone to just spill. Like you can name a price. It's not easy for people to just give me some blood. Oh yes, here you go.
I read that dishes clanking is canon, by the way.
If the three ladies have asked you to ensure his retirement, and I sense the Red Lady's presence about you, then I feel confident a drop of blood will not go, unspilled.
What? No, that's supposed to just be like. Ooh, oh, I didn't even consider that.
Then let us consider it. If it is opportune, you will retrieve this price. If not, then I am confident a drop of your blood will suffice.
Okay.
Very good. I will begin working on the ritual. It will allow you to sink to the depths for a full night. I will also look into providing you a means to hold your breath if you find no other options better.
That'd be useful, yeah. I can't. It takes a long time to go that deep.
Then, if you will allow, I will go and begin preparations. When do you wish this excursion to begin?
Well, now. No, wait, maybe
At your soonest convenience, and also
I should
after
sleep
Sorten
first.
has sobered up.
I need to sleep. That's a good idea.
Let us say 2 nights hence. I will send my friend to tell you when I am ready.
Understood. Thank you so much for tending to us and offering your aid this evening.
As I said, we are friends. Friends do each other favors.
Of course.
She downs the last of her wine in a gulp and stands and leaves. And why don't we take a break here? All righty. So let's move over to you there, Alex. What is Gerald up to? And we'll take this on that kind of up view of, just general plans, things that you put into place. If you remember last time, you got a chance to meet one of the nobles at a party, Melway, I believe his name was. Check again what his name was. I should have had that up here and ready. Oh, Montague, Valois.
Yeah. Gerald, I think with this new mask he's crafted, he is planning to stir the hornet's nest to kind of bring out give it all a poke and see what gossip and opportunities arise because he plans to, of course, slip into the society and move amongst it as one of them. But first, he wants to rile it up.
Let me ask, are you thinking like drow nobility? Are you wanting to get up there with the Alfear and hear from them? What are the rumors? What is the beehive you're poking?
I think I'm planning to divide. I mean, what kind of overlap there is with the high society of Drow and the lower end high society of Elfir. I'm gonna drive a wedge between that by stoking the fear.
Ooh, okay, interesting. So I think that one of the things you find out is there's kind of, and you've seen this personally, amongst the like young and dissolute of the Alfear, there's currently this kind of, they call it drow punk or dark punk. They go and slum with drow, especially in the Silver Quarter, which is big for entertainments and all sorts of things like that. They'll slum with drow and take on little drow affectations. Right. They'll wear the headscarf. They'll wear sunglasses and stuff like that. And so that's sort of a thing amongst the young. Of the real power of the Alfear and those higher up, they just don't take the drow into consideration much, except for those who have lots of money or something that is useful to them. And so you will see those circulate a little together.
I think Elfir that are working with the Steries have contacts. I will target some of those. Not like it will be peppered amongst society. My targets.
Okay.
Amongst that class, but not like targeting one house
and kind of driving that wedge between Alfear and the Steries. All right.
Yeah.
I think you start to pick up then some rumors and, even beyond rumors, like some true knowledge of how the Steries have been using money and gifts to make some allies in the Elfir, especially in moving towards that seat on the High Council. And it's not hard to pick up. They're wanting to put Kellen in as the next counselor, which, if you remember, that's the king. That's the queen's husband. And that's been handled through very expensive gifts. The rumor you're also getting is that it's been handled also with use of slivers. And part of that has meant that slivers have slid away from being this highly illegal thing. Because Elfir wants servants who have the things the slivers can give. And there's even, again, this is darkest of rumors, there are people amongst Steres who are trying to find ways to make slivers work on Elfir, which until now has never worked. They're immediately rejected.
As in, they died, or they...
Quick action has to be taken, or it would kill them, yes. So what is the means of splitting them up? What is the wedge you want to put in there?
I would want to track some of these gifts that the Steres are giving. I want to find somebody who's taken bribes.
All right.
And I will. Gerald plans to cross them off.
Wanting to kill them.
Yes.
Oh, very nice.
He hasn't told Bizarre this, or who has the slivers that we had. Was it Fanara?
Bizarre has the slivers. Fanara could get some if she, wanted to very quickly, but
Gerald has borrowed one of the slivers to take with him.
Okay.
He plans, yeah.
All right. Well, you begin this kind of crusade of knocking off people working with them.
And he definitely the largest name on the list would be found with one of those slithers, puncturing them very obviously.
Nice.
As a calling card.
I'll say you knock off 3 of them pretty, right here in this early part of this campaign. And with that sliver as a part of this, there's some pulling back from those that were working with them. I think you get a little success in that. But you're also going to face some blowback as this person who's coming around and killing Elfir begins to worry some of the powers that be. They begin.
And what was the last person who went around doing that?
Yes. Yeah, your serial killer that you dealt with.
Yeah. The copycat.
Yeah. Oops, I dropped something. I'm sorry. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I dropped a piece of my book. Or one of my books I have in my lap. All right. But you know that they're on the hunt for you. And I believe there was wanting to speak with Fedora. Why don't we have that meeting as all of this whirlwind is going on?
All right. Do you just drop in on me, or do you let me know that you're going to visit before you do?
I think you have to do I have to do the entrance by window. I think I've got the mask. I've got the cloak, coat thing. I need to do the
nice.
universe wills it.
Understood. So this
I do tap at the window. Yeah, I don't just appear in your.
Sure. Then I open the window for you, let you in. Gerald, you finally accepted my invitations.
Oh yeah, yes, of course.
Ah, good. Still thoughtless. All right.
I admit I have been busy of late. But yes, you wanted to meet.
I did. Let's talk with you about some concerns I've been having.
You saw the effect the hive had on Bazaar as well.
I have seen that, but that isn't what I wanted to speak to you about.
Zordon?
Come this way. And I lead Gerald off into basically the baths. I don't have more than one bath, but I have this very nice, like claw-footed, swooping bathtub. Is indoor plumbing a thing in Spire?
Yes, if you have the money.
Oh, I do. Then yeah, I absolutely start drawing heated water into the bath. And, hold my hand under the spout, waiting for it to get to a good temperature, and then set that running as I
definitely
talk.
Have to touch the water to pull my finger away, oh.
Mm-hmm. And there are a few nice little cushiony stools, and I sit on one of them. There's a folded screen and a few towel racks, and it's plushly appointed. There are little comforts, and I start going, Gerald, I've been worried about you, friend.
Me?
You. I've been seeing the strain of our work take a very sharp toll on you.
Hard work for us all.
Of course it is. But I believe that you aren't just wearing a mask against the world lately. I believe that you might be running the risk of wearing a mask against yourself.
And I admit I had a moment in the ways, but I shook it off. I'm on the mission now. I'm back with us.
And I value that deeply. And I value, of course, your dedication. I simply worry that you're not taking any time to rest, to gather yourself, to remind yourself who you are and why you're doing this, what makes this so important to you.
When do we have time for that?
You make time for it. You force it to happen. Because if you burn yourself out, Gerald, if you become someone other than the drow who recruited me, then you've sacrificed your life without dying.
If this is just going to be whatever this is, I do have work to do.
And I reach for a little jar of something and And somehow, like, it is the favorite scent of Gerald's. Like the best stuff. And I just, pour a certain amount of it into the tub. And it gets fragrant
I'm like
and
halfway
sudsy.
out the door, and there's that pause. Like, look over the shoulder, back over my shoulder.
Gerald, if you don't take some time to value yourself and bask in our genuine success, you will lose connection. And an unconnected man is easy to manipulate. He's easy to kill. I'm not just doing this because I like flowers and money and soft things. I care about you. I care about my friend. Now you're going to get into this damn bathtub, and you're going to relax for at least a half an hour.
I will. Half an hour. But I need high class drow clothing. Possibly Elfia.
Done.
Maybe both.
All right.
Both.
You get settled in. I'm going to go and raid my closets.
Mm-hmm. I start putting mask after mask and knives and stuff down.
Yep, there's some trays for that sort of thing. And I'll leave to go raid my closets.
You hear some grumbling and possibly some talking to himself as he...
I don't hear splashing.
Okay, yeah, fine.
Water.
You hear splashing.
As you relax into the bath, and you could feel some of the knots and stress sort of untying themselves.
I'm resting, aren't I? I'm doing resting. You get to do things. Gerald knew this. He knew this would happen.
You may get rid of all of your stress.
Okay.
Your swollen eye will go away. And I think you're permanently weird. I believe that we've played with it good and solid. I think that it's going to go away as you relax and kind of are drifting there in this warm, steamy bath. And you hear behind you a voice. Gerald, you have been very busy lately. No, my child. And you sense a shadow over your shoulder. It is definitely the mascot's voice you're hearing. You have sent 3 of our hated enemies on to their doom. This pleases me. And I sense you will send many more.
However many is needed for the mission.
And you've begun to accept deeper and deeper into your heart my gifts. And that also pleases me, Gerald. You have been suffering under a disturbance of your mind. Something where, despite yourself, you have been giving away your secrets. Surely you recognized it.
Bizarre man. Yes. Yes.
I would not have my servants spilling their secrets. I shall take this difficulty from you, my dear child, and leave you with something far better.
What?
You already have begun to exterminate them, and I have seen another who shares your goals. You feel that presence draw up close and a hand sort of touch the back of your head. And that weird kind of feeling you've had, that need
Anxiety,
to
yeah.
dialogue with yourself, kind of alleviating as the hand pushes your head down to look into the steaming water. And in the reflection of the water, you see a drow in armor. He's got a wicked-looking sword to his side. He just shows danger. He shows a killer in his face. Valorous Grindel. He hunts within Spire. He's been called the King Killer. He seeks the heads of those who wear the crown. And his prey now is their queen. But he will not take her until she has been elevated to Queen of Spire. He does not consider her worthy until then. But perhaps his mind can be changed. And at the moment, he is practicing by hunting down the lesser nobles of Steris. He may be an ally to you, Gerald. Allies in the hunt are always useful. And then that voice gets very close to your ear. As long as you remember, they're always temporary, Gerald. In the end, everyone gets the knife.
I think just a frown from Gerald, no response to that.
And you feel that presence sort of slide away, as in that last moment in the reflection, you see Valorous Grindel. But you do feel more relaxed and more attuned to yourself than you have in some time. And I'm going to take up the control marker on our sheet, which has been so low for a while, up to a 2, as everyone begins to hear word that the ban in Spire on slivers has been lifted. But a monopoly on production, import, and placement of them has been given to House Steris.
Don't like it. Frowny face.
And I think, Fenara, you returned with glorious clothing of appropriate
Yep.
type.
I push in a wheelable rack wardrobe and say, well, I think that some warm colors would go best with your skin, but the Alfear items that I have are mostly cool colors.
Mm. Mm. I think I like point to those with those.
I start draping things
Yeah.
over the changing screen. All right,
And-
maybe with this.
I frown and then nod.
And I think we'll phase out of that.
Mm.
I'm guessing Gerald does not mention the visitation.
No, you don't mention the mascot. And, well, sometimes you do.
Sometimes you do, but
And so we'll pull out of that. And Amaranth, what are you up to? We've had the the offer come in from the Staries, and you are seeing more and more people in the neighborhood wearing the badge, though in your neighborhood, as of yet, they have not established one of their communities.
Damn. I need to have a conversation with Yvette.
All right.
And I think if you're okay with it, we begin the conversation after Aramit's not talking about the ministry, reveals all that he knows about the slivers and the badges and the Staries and the threat that he sees.
Everything to her.
Yeah. Everything except saying, I found this out while being part of the ministry. Yes. He just drops that whole firewall completely. Maybe they've shared a few glasses of wine. It's back in the rectory where he often has those kinds of conversations.
I think she's listened, at first kind of, oh my, and then becoming more rapt and catching on to the urgency of what you're selling or telling, not selling. And by the time you reach the end, you could see that she is as concerned as you. Aramis, my dear, I've known that you go on such dangerous missions. For some time, I've not asked you about them because I trust you. But I am not completely foolish.
Of course not, darling. I've always suspected that you knew more than you let on.
It has been said that there are those in Spire who look out for our people, who work in the shadows to try and free us.
I have heard that as well.
She smiles gently. I imagine you have.
We must protect our flock. This threat that Lady Eclair has brought to our doorstep, I have perhaps ignored our home for too long.
What should we do?
I have hesitated in deploying our flock against this threat. against using the chapel against it because it puts everyone in the eye of the storm, but it seems that the storm is coming nonetheless. I think we should craft sermons speaking against the badges.
It will cause problems. The funding they've given us has been helpful, but it is the least of things.
Yes. Of course. And in your place, I would have done the same. We thirst to serve our flock and Limier.
I have seen those amongst our congregation who do wear the badges. I've, of course, never turned them away, and
of course,
they do not, as you know, they have not come in and attempted to recruit amongst their fellows. But what the Staries have been offering is very seductive. It is such a dangerous place, and they give security. Though the price you say it comes at is terrifying.
Yes. I wish that the Staries were not so misguided in their ultimate goal, the hope of our people rising up. But that's not what they want.
What do you think they want?
They want their puppets to rise up. They want to rule over a mindless drow.
We cannot have that.
No.
And if there were war, from what you say, they would send our people in waves to die for their goals.
I have seen a drow infected by the slivers turn against his closest friends and die when we tried to free him. I expect no less.
Then we shall preach against what they bring. But we must be brave. I fear that it will cause great problems to us.
I would like to inform my allies of this, if we are in accord, if you trust me, Yvette.
With my life.
And before we move on this, I want to make sure that my friends are prepared, because this, as you say, will stir many waters.
And Amorets, if they come to our flock with violence, are we prepared to fight? Will we kill our own kind?
He reaches over and takes her hands. From what I have seen, they are not our own anymore. I know of no way to save someone from the slivers. The moment that I discover this, our tactics and my beliefs will change. But for now, if one raises a hand against our flock, they are not one of us anymore.
That in the lady's name I will gird myself for battle.
leans in and gives her a very soft kiss and says, "Pray upon this. If Limier speaks to your heart differently, let me know. I will return as soon as I'm able."
Where are you going?
As I said, to inform my friends, I will go to the Kraken Bell. I'm sure I can find Sword there.
You're not going on another long journey then?
No, I would not drop this in your lap and leave you to deal with it. I hope to never do that again.
I hope to never be separated from you that long again either. All right, so we'll end that tender scene with, and we'll kind of high end it of you go and inform folks of what you're doing.
Yeah. Hey guys, I'm gonna do some sermons against the Steries and Biages and stuff. Okay, yeah, cool. All right, bye. No, he would wait and for people to go, "This is a terrible idea. Tell me a better one."
All right. So, folks, and again, we're kind of free playing in the high end here. What would be, are there arguments against, or are there voices of support? Gerald, how do you react?
So the plan would be to sermons against the Steries.
Yes. And the badges and the control and the poison and the lies that they offer.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Gerald would be nod. So yeah.
Sword.
Am I gonna get you into a lot of trouble?
Oh, yes. It will likely lead to violence.
Right.
Some of my flock will be killed.
I have a thing. If you would wait till after, then I can maybe help.
Tell me how I can help you so that you can help me, Zordon.
Well.
Is this the lake thing?
River. Yes.
Good. I'm glad that you are taking up this quest again. I believe in you.
Thank you.
Gerald is just looking uncomfortable off to one side, like.
I hope you also have faith in Cat Lady.
Strange bedfellows. She served well as an ally in the past. What did she ask of you in return?
What?
I'm
Yours?
not surprised.
Well, no, the Saints.
Oh, the Saints.
And failing that, mine. Just a drop, though.
People with the right skills can do a lot with a drop. And I think we all agree she has the right skills.
More than most.
Are you suggesting that I shouldn't do that? Because I'm pretty sure she can.
Well, you've already promised it, so it's probably a little late for that.
You should not break a promise to one such as Molly.
Right. So I won't then.
All right. I think, barring Fanara coming in with some different opinion, I think we'll come out of that conversation. And Aramitch, you're going to give a couple of days for Zordon to do what he's going to do, and then you're going to begin your preachings. Yep. All right. So Zordon, let's do this thing.
Let's go for a swim.
I think that we will. Are you inviting anyone else to come with you?
I mean, I'm not specifically inviting anyone, but I'm definitely telling everyone, oh yeah, it's going to be Dan.
I'm there.
Good. Thursa would have looked to you, hoping you would come. Gerald, you intend to be in attendance?
Oh. It's Zordon and Aramis. They're important for the mission. They are his friends. He will be there. He will be annoyed that it's taking him away from other things.
I think it's fair to guess that Fedora will be there looking into her investment.
Fair.
Do you have your friend from the Blind Serpents? Is she there?
Yes.
Okay. And do you bring a few of your knights?
Probably like 2.
All right.
Not a large number.
Like that, maybe that first elder that kind of stood with you.
Yeah, exactly. And it's more like to stand witness and like,
Okay. So I think him and I think the guy that you fought the duel with.
Right.
Had the joust with.
Yep.
And as Molly shows up, everyone kind of gives her a bit of a berth. She comes over and strip.
Oh, okay.
And once you've removed all of your clothing, she will look you over.
It's awkwardly standing there, covering, the front and the back, and
she sort of pokes at your ribs where they are still bruised and crushed. So this will not do. And you see her sort of and spits into her hand and begins rubbing bloody spittle across your chest. You may remove your light wound.
Done.
And then she begins to intone. She pulls out a knife, which she cuts her hand with and begins dripping blood into a circle around you. She places the bloody hand on your chest and you feel a heat from it. And she takes your hand and she cuts it open and places it into hers. And you feel that same heat begin to course through your body. There. I have given you strength to withstand the river's pressure. I have given you your blood, the ability to hold on to its air longer. But neither of these are infinite. Your time will be until the moon sets beyond Spire. Once Our Lady no longer looks down on the river, your protections will be over. You know that that's 3-4 hours.
Zordon will be like, so I've noticed before that can't really see that if the moon is up or down or like it's black.
Then you should hurry.
Oh, shit.
And I step forward with a couple of things. One being a phosphorescent lantern that can hang across your torso without you having to hold it with your hands. And then an odd stick with some kind of short metal tube at the end. And I explain, this will burn underwater very prodigiously. It is not safe to touch once it's activated. It's the best that I could do, in trying to help you with any perhaps eel problems that might arise.
How does it work? Please.
You twist this, and after a count of 3, essentially, it's active. Since it's underwater and you can't throw quickly underwater, I would recommend stabbing it into something or placing it against something.
Okay.
The water will protect you somewhat from the intense heat, but don't stay holding on to it. It's a thermite grenade, basically, out of character.
Yeah. Thanks. I hope I don't need it.
Same.
You may dress again. Hide your shame, Jordan.
Like, standing with it and like, oh shit. Yep, and he gets dressed again.
Thorsa will come up to you and say, be sure to come back. My teaching is not done.
Sign the contract. Well,
he's supposed to come back.
That I try to come back.
And she will reach out and clasp your forearm into a handshake, and then kind of like unable to resist, she will quickly hug you around the middle and then break back off and kind of...
Right. Well, if I'm not back in, 3 hours? And then...
Get moving.
Yes.
If it's any comfort as you step forward towards the banks, actually towards your boat, I guess you're going to row out to where where you saw it. Molly will go, if it's any comfort, I'll retrieve your body.
It's not.
And you row out, getting to roughly where you and Tom had been. I think probably one of your knights would have gone with you to help you row and to hold the boat there for you to come back to. And bloop, into the river you go. You begin to sink down, and I'm guessing you took a big gulp of breath before you went in, and it is surprising that you do not feel a need for breath as you begin to descend. And though you do your ears do sort of pop, that unbelievable crushing weight that was in your chest previously does not seem to be affecting you either. The lantern at your chest shines out into the black murk, giving you some degree of sight, and you find that cliff face that you had found previously, and begin heading down. As you do, deep below, you see a glow of a fire through a window. As you near, an enormous black shadow begins moving from the depths and up towards you. I think we should have at least a moment of dealing with an eel.
Yes.
As this massive creature moves up towards you, it's a huge mouth opening. What do you do?
So it's coming up from beneath me. I think is it straight beneath me?
It can be if you wish, or it could be coming up and down.
I think Sordin swims to a point so that it is straight beneath him.
Massive maw moving up.
And then he goes, twist, and lets it drop.
Very nice. I think I'm going to just get a roll out of you to see how it all goes.
Totally fair.
Fight plus low society. You're as low as you could go.
All right.
And I don't know if any of your thingies fix up in here.
Doubt it. This is not a duel.
No.
No. I don't think so.
All right. Roll away.
A7.
A7. All right. So you will succeed. You are going to take some stress. As I see, you twist and drop this thing down towards it. And in your head, you're sort of counting. 1. This thing's getting very close. 2. Maybe I should have dropped this a little earlier. 3. As this maw is within about 10 feet, and you've seen that rod drop well down into its gullet, there is suddenly a bright white flare from inside the gullet, lighting up its maw, which is terrifying as it is right there beneath you and moving up. I think you can roll here. I think in this case, your thermite thing here is a D12.
Okay.
And I will give it brutal so that you can roll twice, taking the highest.
Awesome. Let's have a look. A7.
Is the highest?
Yeah.
All right. The jaws pass up at your leg as this bright light and the heat, there's this boiling of water that is coming up out of the maw. It is underwater, so you can't really hear much, but you would swear there's a sizzling, and the bubbles of the boiling water wash up onto you, and you're going to take half of the damage you inflicted. So take 4 stress to blood and armor.
Wonderful.
As the maw passes up and encompasses your body, you sense the jaws close over the top of you. The massive body is wriggling. The heat is stifling as you continue down the gullet, and you find around you is this black, thick liquid mixing with the river water. You see torn, burnt flesh, and as the body continues on, you see where a hole has been burnt through the back end of this thing, and you pass through as this enormous creature, writhing in pain and anguish, is moving off into the depths, perhaps to die, perhaps to deal with its wounds, but you have passed through sort of unscathed.
Yeah,
the bright light, yes?
Because four stress is nothing, especially if you already have 7.
Hardly any at all. Did you take actual total addition? You did.
Oh yeah, no, I've
You're going to be suffering a fallout if you wish.
You know what? No, I don't wish.
All right. Calling upon the power of the Red Lady, you ignore the bile and ichor that is over your body. It seems almost to wash away as a reddish light encompasses you. You see down below, now that you pass through this creature, that bright white light of the gift that Fenara gave you, passing to where there's a structure with its warm light on it inside, and you see your sword stuck point down at the door. As you descend, your own reddish glow matching the glow that is coming from the sword. And as you near the door, it pulls itself free from the door jamb and flies back to your hand.
Ooh, fancy.
As you light there at the door. From inside, you can hear faint music. Sounds like a lute playing, and the sounds of bottles clinking, glasses clinking.
Yeah, I think like Soren will sort of swim towards the door, and then he's just gonna go like he's not sure what he's gonna like if it's going to be wet inside or not, and it's like starts pushing the door.
You reach over and push at the door. As you do, it gives, and you almost stumble inside as it is dry and warm, lit by lanterns and a warm roaring fire and a hearth. It's odd, there are no mage lights in here. It is all candlelight and lanterns and oil lamps, that sort of thing, and the fire itself. You can see next to the fire, there is a lute, seemingly playing on its own, leaned against the hearth. And there are glasses with liquor that and mugs of beer that seem to lift themselves and then set back down, almost as though invisible patrons of this bar are there. But sitting at the bar, you see an old man in dingy and blackened armor. In front of him is an enormous stein. His hair is long and bushy and white, as is his beard. And he looks older, not ancient, but older, but still thick, still well muscled, if going a bit to fat at this point. And he looks over at you, his eyes glowing a little red in the dimness, as is not uncommon for drow. And he says, "Sir Sorden, I've been expecting you. We're going to cut over to Fenara. You received a message asking for you to set up a meeting. Is that something you're planning on doing?"
Yep.
Where would you like to have this meeting?
Probably, I'm torn. Is it at my home? Is it at a nearby settlement where I have to leave Spire? Probably leaving Spire is going to be the wisest place to do this. So I think through a proxy or two, I would negotiate, nearby settlement, one that's at least big enough to have a very good restaurant.
Okay.
And I'm just renting the whole place for an evening.
Okay.
I'm the only customer.
And it'll be to the west because she's coming from the home nation area. And it'll probably be near the river. It'll probably be a riverport town. That's easy access for both of you. All right. You receive agreement that they will meet you. And again, we're doing a little timey-wiminess of, things going on.
Sure.
So why don't we have that meeting, and we'll start high and we can go low. What are you offering? She comes in. She's suspicious. You could tell that off the get. She has 2 bodyguards with her. I'm assuming you have Gola set.
Of course, yeah.
She doesn't look immediately hostile, just suspicious. So, how do you start off?
Hello, welcome. I hope that these are adequate accommodations in a token of respect for your even agreeing to come speak with me.
It is certainly acceptable, and I am pleased to talk with you, though it is a topic I do not discuss often.
Indeed. On that front, once we've been served, the staff will be relieving themselves of their duties until such time as I come to fetch them. So we will have this place truly to ourselves.
You will understand I have some trepidation. I have brought protection because certainly in years past, there have been those who sought my death.
It's understandable, I agree. They're, of course, welcome. They may have any provisions they desire. No alcohol, of course.
Mm-hmm. And I think a spread is laid out. There is polite talk. She is very capable of talking in an interesting way with you. She's a merchant, and
oh yeah, like we're talking mad shop throughout,
right?
Plucking things off of this. It's almost a buffet, but it's not kind of table. Just being like, oh yeah, and so and so, and these shipping lanes are just madness.
And she's good. She's very smart, clearly has a network of her own, has been successful.
Mm-hmm.
And so as food is cleared and the room is emptied of all but your party, she says, I suppose business. I would ask, I thought I had put this all behind me. Those that knew of my true nature, I thought I had handled them or thrown them off the trail.
You did a very, very good job. There was one historian in particular who had doggedly produced a genealogy that accurately identified you.
Let's see. Well, I will have to look into that. And you discussed taking on this burden?
Yes. I would like to purchase your lineage from you, in bluntest terms.
Why would you ask for such a cursed thing?
Currently, the Steries are deep into a massive project to infiltrate and then take control of the Spire itself.
I had heard rumors of this.
They've made incredible progress, and the situation is quite dire.
Philippa is a very clever woman.
She is. And their tactics are, quite frankly, broad and polished. On one side, they groom drow nobility and, of course, push members of their own family into varying areas as they attempt to take seats on the council itself.
Well,
on the other hand, they've opened up a massive network of charities and other programs, and they offer themselves as a point of pride and unity for the Drow, which for us from the home nations is a vomitous proposition.
but I imagine Spire is happy to find such liberators.
They love the hope that they can grasp.
I should tell you that I suppose this is just a first step on Philippa's plans. She will not be satisfied simply with Spire. She will want to return to the nations.
Yes.
And your people of Spire would be the army she would lead.
Lead, command, puppeteer. There are so many different synonyms for how that would happen. All at once.
It would be a bloodbath. The nations are a meat grinder.
Yes. Once again, something that we are aware of, but that folk from within the Spire, they can conjure whatever their imagination conveniently desires them to see.
If my kindred were to take back even one of the nations, if they were able to create a war, there are so many old grudges she would want to put an end to. She would kill so many.
Carelessly and with utmost care.
And you wish to stand up to this.
As only one drow, in only one place, in light of the eventual plans that would unfold, all I can do is throw my body on the gears. But perhaps with the weight of your lineage, all of my blood will be so much stickier.
I am a little surprised that you don't also seek to see the Alfir cast out of your home. I hear they are most terrible.
Expunging the Alfir is certainly my first goal. However, replacing them with the Steries, in my opinion, is no alternative.
You could take what I would give and have your own army.
That itself is a temptation I push towards contingency only. I have several allies working with me in the same capacity, well, from different angles, of course, with different strengths. But if the opportunity would arise that creating a wedge, a disruption within the Steries themselves, worked out so powerfully well that I could somehow usurp their hierarchy, that would be a very difficult road to hoe, because the Steries have a certain deep implanted culture.
It is interesting you mentioned that.
Mm.
For what you ask is not simply a gift I can give on word. It is not simply something that a piece of paper will deliver.
Of course not.
She reaches inside of her sort of jacket or coat.
Sure.
And brings out a platinum sliver and lays it down. I had this extracted. It was painful, but at the same time, it was a relief. It is a Dominion sliver. It is the Dominion sliver.
I don't say anything for multiple seconds after that.
There is no doubt that Philippa will have one of these implanted in herself. It will give her control over all of her servitors. But it is an imitation. It is a construct in the image of the one for the true ruler. This one.
And after staring at it for a few moments, I trace a line with my finger on the table, not touching it, but mirroring its shape. Sorry, my mind latches upon an irony in the situation that once I was merely an imitator and would become one again. If you've heard of the folly at Isma Vault.
I had heard rumors. That was you?
Yes. It's so funny how much a hoity-toity expression and an absolute refusal to let anyone slow you down for a moment can do.
You seem a very resourceful lady.
Yeah.
I'm willing to sign what is needed. I am willing to say the words, and I am willing to give you this. What you do with these three things will be up to you, for I will no longer have anything to do with that cursed name.
I trust and fully expect you to run away with your freedom.
Well, I shan't run away far, for I do have things I would ask in exchange.
Import rates?
Rates, such an unpleasant word. I prefer duty-free.
Oh.
I have, and she motions over, a contract. Please peruse it. And you will see she has laid down a magnificent idea of using your connections within. She's willing to give you a seller's rate, but she wants everything she brings in to be duty-free.
And about what is my profit cut if, frankly, if I pay her duties myself?
You could make a slim profit. Of course, with what you're being given, there's no telling what your own import rates would look like. I mean, royalty does have its perks.
Perhaps. That's something to set aside. I find this valuable on its own merits. I'd like to take till the end of this glass, I think, to think it over and peruse a little further.
Of course.
But then I believe we have a deal.
Before you completely decide, have your drink, and remember my words. My words, my papers, will not be as strong as this sliver for a claim.
I understand. That's why I have to finish my glass.
Please. And she will stand up with her two minions and walk away, giving you and Golaset a moment to sit there as she moves over to the fire and warms herself. Mistress, are you truly contemplating doing this?
I have been for at least a month.
I will stand with you however I can. And though I have not done it in fact, I believe my actions show I have done it throughout my time in service. I would gladly bend the knee.
It is not a laugh of derision, Gola. It is merest recognition and pleasure. Thank you.
And he'll sort of sit back and let you contemplate. And we'll come back to that in a moment or two. Eremits, you and we're going to get a little timey-wiminess of, past Zordan's adventure. You have begun preaching. You and Yvette have begun telling your congregation the evils of joining up with what the Staries have offered.
Eremits doesn't say evil. What he says is that this has weighed upon my heart, has weighed upon Yvette's heart. We have prayed and prayed, and we must tell you that Limier does not approve. And so it's not this is evil, it's Limier says this is not a good thing. And that's hopefully more powerful, but yeah.
All right. I think we'll have a roll here. Why don't you give me a compel and religion? And I think that you're going to be receiving an extra die as Yvette, supporting you in this, and you'll note, is extremely good at it because she's still got her idol advances in her pocket.
Yeah.
So 4 dice.
All right, let's do 4d10. Rich almost started reflexively for the the d6s.
Ooh, that wouldn't be good.
Here we go. Oh. 2 out of the 4 dice are 10s.
Oh, wow. Fantastic. So, an exceptional success. There is some grumbling amongst your congregation of those that had sort of signed up already.
Mm-hmm.
But the strength of your argument sways them. Your people believe what you and Yvette are telling, and it begins to spread around the neighborhood. This idea that the Steris are wanting to use them, that the gifts they bring are tainted, are cursed, that this is not what the lady wants. And there begin to be fights amongst your congregation and the true believers of Steris down there in the docks area around the chapel. But I think that with that exceptional success, the power of this new sermon, the power of this new sort of bringing people together with a purpose is going to expand the congregation. You're going to get new people rather than losing people. It is something that those who had in their hearts been saying, this doesn't seem right, congregate around you. They come to you. You may take a street level bond with the, you could call them your adherents in the docks or your flock in the docks, which rhymes.
Hello, flock of the docks. That's pretty cool.
You realize that you have definitely gotten the eye of the Steris on you as this happens, and you will receive a visit during the course of this from Lady Eclair, who comes to make to basically say you've made a terrible mistake. You will regret this. Ha 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 ha. That sort of thing. And there's street battles, and what ends up happening is the area around your chapel starts to take on a little bit of that fortress mentality, a little bit of we're watching out for our own, almost as a contrast to the badges in their neighborhoods, because they have to watch out for each other.
Yeah.
But I would say that you could bring the idea of several hundred adherents to your word that are building up around the chapel. And I'm going to ask, with this, this success, you're seeing this, what are you asking them to do? I mean, right now they're going out and they're telling people what you've said, and they pull together to protect each other. But what is your instruction going forward?
I think going forward, it's just that, like, watch our own, because Aramis, number one, doesn't want to put the ministry in any danger, doesn't want to draw down on any of his friends, also does not want to make this a war on two fronts. It's just down here where the Elfir don't care. The moment that they move out of this particular part of Spire, it becomes something rough. And I think he's working really hard to make sure that they don't gather in large groups. They don't appear as any kind of militarized force. It is, we're protecting our homes, we're protecting our people, and we're rejecting the Steris, we're rejecting the badges. We don't trust it. That's the thrust that Aramis is trying to control. Like, he's trying really hard to lead what appears to be, as much as possible, a peaceful revolution.
Okay. All right. I'm going to hit an incident, and then we're going to bounce off of you again. The incident is, we have a rather massed group of the badged who are coming into your area basically to knock heads. You could tell they're coming in to cause trouble, to knock heads.
Okay.
You also have someone who's coming in, and this is simultaneously coming in kind of from the opposite end, and not preaching, because this is very secular, but coming in and speaking to the people of the benefits of what Steres can offer. And you know, he begins coming in and speaking a couple of times, and then the night of his big rally, and on the opposite end, the forces of the badged coming in, and you've heard him speak, and there is something to the way he speaks that is not natural. People listening to it can't help but be caught up in what he's saying. I'm going to ask, what do you go to deal with? What does Yvette go to deal with?
Stinks because it feels like it's so immediate. I know we're going up and down. So let me ask this, and I'm okay with either answer. I have an advance that I've never needed to use called Scryatrix. I guess that's how you say it. Nashin. Spend 10 minutes. That's the part that I'm asking about. Meditating, attuning to the area around you to uncover strangeness or things out of place. Reveal something hidden to you in the GM will reveal something hidden to you in the immediate area. That may not even apply. It feels like a secret doors magic spell, but I was wondering.
I think you could do that.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're not in such an immediate that minutes are our thing, you know. So yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think this could work. We'll relay the information to you as vision, sensation, not as hard data. Okay. What would you ask?
I want to know what is the power of this drow to command the hearts and ears of his people, and any vision on, especially from Lemier, because I imagine this is a power by her kind of thing. What should I do against it? He's looking for guidance.
Okay. You see this sort of flashing set of images of that man as a young man rallying workers down below at the factories for better working conditions. You see him rallying people to look for better conditions. You recognize this is a firebrand. This is an organizer who has, throughout his life, been trying to generate conditions that are to improve the poorer of Spire. Then you see this vision of the handmaidens of Steres, those odd midwives in their cloaks, their odd movements. The chitinous clicks as they move, the multifaceted eyes around him, talking to him. Then you see him in an operating room as they're sliding a bone sliver into his throat. So he has natural abilities, but he also has the sliver, and it is a Dominion sliver, which gives enormous abilities to convince people, even if it's not attached to servitor slivers.
Now, I had said a thing in character that I wanted to check in to make sure that we all, at least based on all of our information, agree that Rich isn't misremembering. Is it like, have we ever figured out a way to take a sliver out of someone, or slivers, because it's usually not just one, and they survive and heal from it?
Yes, you have heard, well, Fadara at the very least has heard that the person she was talking to.
In just the last scene, But
Right.
I don't. I mean, and
Previous to-
we're going up and down. So
Right.
maybe Fenara shared that. So that's cool.
Previous to that, you have also when you found the guy who was already dead because Gerald had killed him, but had the slivers in his arm
Mm-hmm.
that caused the speed. I mentioned then they could have been extracted. Wouldn't have killed him, would have been horribly painful. I mean, they were barbed spurs into his arm, but it probably wouldn't have killed him. Usually, from what y'all have determined, there are things that like go in your brain or go into your nervous system and stuff like that. Extracting them seems very hard to not cause enormous damage. So it's dependent on where they are, and none of them are safe to remove.
Okay. So I misspoke a little bit to Yvette. That's fine. You can clarify it, but that
We can
means I
kind
don't
of just, yeah.
Cool.
I mean,
That
again,
means
it's
you
not
can-
safe to take any of them out.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. That's very helpful. I appreciate it, and it makes things a lot more complicated, which is interesting and cool. I think Aramis wants to deal with the person with the Dominion, and he is willing to use moonlight if need be.
All right. So you go off there. Is Yvette going with you, or is she going to rally the people at the other side?
I hate to be a terrible person, but I am super sending her to rally people at the other side.
All right. Then I'm going to get 2 rolls on the table, and then we're going to shift away from you.
Okay.
For you, you're combating him with words and then trying to actually physically take the sliver. Is that right?
Yeah.
All right. So I think this sounds to me like if we shove them both together, you're trying to fix something.
Yeah. That is my hope. More than fight is to fix.
And I think religion is what you're calling on. He has a difficulty of 1.
Oof. Now, is that 1 less die, or I need
1 less die?
And it's 1 for doing it, right?
1 for doing.
I was at 3, and I go down to 2.
Down to 2.
Okay. Here we go. Oh, Olivia, thank you. That is a 10.
Excellent. I think that you argue against him. Your words swaying. It's the 2 of you, titans of oratory, come closer and closer together. Your groups sort of as you talk and talk. And when you give this great final statement and unleash the light of Lumiere to shine down at him, he shies back from it. This, the purity of the light, of course, even if he, it's still a damaging thing regardless. And he pulls back away from the light. He can't stand the purity of it. Your people taking heed to this kind of surge forward. His own followers, his voice kind of falters a moment. So those listening to him sort of shake it out as you move up to him and reach to grab that sliver out and rip it from his throat. That's where we're going to end the scene, as we see you ripping it out. We'll see the fallout from that next time. But we see you pull it from him, and his voice go from this perfect melodic and amplified voice as he screams, and it becomes harsh. The other side, we're going to have you roll your bond with Yvette. This is in her neighborhood, and it is something she's good at. So you get to roll 3 dice, except I'm putting a 1 difficulty on this as well, because she has forces there that y'all are unaware of working against her. So 2 dice for Yvette on a bond roll. You're muted, my love.
All right, here we go. I'm hitting the. Oh, that is a
Before you
7.
roll- I was just going to say, would Gerald be able to help with this roll
Ooh.
if he was within the marauding band of badge wearers all along?
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, how many? I would have to roll my Kellen's something.
Yes, you would roll that, and we'll get another die on the table for you, Rich.
Okay.
You're currently at a 7.
Because I would be one of the aliases, the one that got badges earlier. So how many? I can deal with the stress stuff later, but how much? One more dice he gets.
Yep, he'll get another die. So, Rich, roll another die.
Here we go.
Oh,
No, yeah, a 7 is the best. And thank you for the help.
Success with a cost.
I like that. Before, I actually have a thing I've never got to use because I've never had Fallout. But before you roll for Fallout on a bond, I'll mark stress on myself to remove it from the ally.
Ooh.
Yeah. So each point I mark removes 2 points of stress from them.
Excellent. All right. Comes at a cost. It would be stress. I'm planning to do something different, but I think you're okay.
Sorry.
No. That's perfectly fine. Roll me a D8.
Okay. Cheese and crackers, D8. Oh. Vet stress, so like stressette. Here we go. Oof, a 3.
Okay. So that would be 3 to the bond.
And I will eat that with build bridges. So each point you mark removes 2 points of stress. So that'll be 2 points of stress to me instead of taking it to the bond.
All right. And Gerald, you would be taking as well because you assisted.
Yeah, and also because I appeared as that person in the crowd, I also took 5 stress to reputation.
Ooh.
Oh,
okay.
Snap.
So what was the extra stress I'm taking?
Well, we're not going to have you take extra stress here. We'll go with your 5 because I think that what we're going to see is, okay, it's a success. We see the rallying of your congregation as they begin fending off, and Yvette is everywhere amongst them, rallying them, telling them, encouraging them. And at a critical moment when the real spear point of them coming in and she's there with them, we get this mass melee as the congregants fight them off. Gerald, in that moment, as you are part of the opposing group, you using your mole abilities begin helping to throw back the
I mean,
badged.
I'm only a clumsy kid in Monster Simulator. I'm bumping into people. Oh, I fell on the floor and tripped that person over. Oh, yeah.
And it's as you fall in an at the edge of an alley, and you can see Yvette, and there's almost like this light around her, and you can see that she rallying these people, but she's been separated from them just slightly. As from out of the alley, you see 4 figures in those white, draped, veiled outfits, the handmaidens of Steris. Multiple legs beneath the these robes, clicking along, rushing towards her. As they get close, one of them sort of pulls back and from her mouth vomits out these lines, this sticky wave of webbing that reaches out and begins to entwine Yvette. While another one moves close and you see her pulling out a sliver and an instrument to begin implanting it in her. And it is at this point, as it is moving in, as they are moving in to do this, that light glows up around her, and the webbing seems to drip away. But as they're closing in, what are you doing, Gerald?
I think in the kind of moments as he was moving towards them, he was having the horrible sinking feeling that he was going to, well, do a disservice to his friend. But now this kind of glow thing is happening, he's going to take that chance to get her out there alive.
Excellent. So you rush in to help her?
I'm having to drop pretense, I think, and just move as skillfully as I can through the crowd to get.
Have you added your stress for that pass move? You have.
Yeah.
I'm going to roll real quick here.
Those midwives don't happen to be Elfir, just
no,
for some
they are
reason
drow.
Strangely Elfir.
No, they are drow, and you didn't take fallout. Damn it! Oh, thought I might get to spike you. As you come rushing in, and the light she's thrown away these webs as Lumier's blessing, and from across the bit of town here, her love from Aramit's infuses her, and she holds up her symbol of Lumiere and says, "The light of the mother shines around me. The fury of the lady protects me, and you are nothing." And this bright beam of light shines out from her as you come tackling into the back of them. And there is this sort of high-pitched screeching, chittering from the four of them as they scuttle back, kind of, and you can see smoke kind of rising from them as you have landed in and sort of slashed them, and they begin to flee away. And as you move over to her, she looks at you, and you kind of start pulling her back towards where more of her allies are. She just looks at your badge and says, "Thank you. Have you seen the light?"
Yes, it was wonderful. Now get to safety.
May the mother bless you. And as you fall back, the four of them going into the alley, and you can see webbing kind of filling up the space of that. One of them looks back, and the hood drops, and you see the multifaceted eyes staring at you. And there's a clash of wills. As you can tell, she is trying to see deeper into who you are. And in your mind, you can sort of hear her little voice, high-pitched and strange. "You are not who you seem. I will know you." But as she says that, a counterforce of blackness sort of slides across your face and your head, and a voice you recognize. "Creature, this one is mine." And she falls and flees. We're going to shift over. We're out of time just about. But I want Sorden, as this man says this to you, how do you respond? I've been expecting you.
How long did it take me to get Shin down?
Less than an hour.
Less than an hour. I think sort of in response with, what do we have to do to get a drink around here?
He smiles and motions to the bar, and you see a bottle move across of its own, like someone you can't see carrying it, and sets it down with the glass.
It's convenient. Right. I'll take a glass and sort of sit next to him.
Have you come to end my watch?
Yeah.
I suppose I shouldn't be surprised.
It's been a long one from what I hear.
Yes. I'm willing to accept your claim. If you can best me, then it is for you.
Does it have to be besting?
Of course. Nothing comes for free.
Wait, am I besting you in a what? Like just making sure. Drinking competition? No.
I do choose the weapon. And yes, I choose the bottle. And he smiles at you. And you could see in that smile a man who is very confident of victory.
Right.
And that's where we'll end off, pulling away from that to, I want just one last thing. Finara. She comes walking back over and sits down. Have you made your decision?
One last swirl. The last swallow goes down in a quick motion. And I hold a hand out for a quill.
She hands you the quill.
Hardly any profit without risk, you know.
And she smiles and nods as we see you sign the contract. And that is where we will end, my friends.
Oof. Wow.
I don't think we have time for a stars and wishes today,
Sadly.
but we'll next time around we'll continue. I think in the same pattern we're doing. I kind of like this up and down. I think we're getting a lot done, and I think we will see a quest completed. We will see a faction being built. We will see a spy in the heart of the high society, more than likely. And who knows, a return of a new queen.
Oh my. Oh my, oh my. Well, do you mind if I take it back over? And
Thank you very much. Take it on over.
sweet. This was spectacular. We are definitely ending strong. Great work in today's session, Tyler. All the stars. Our 26th session of Spire will come to an abrupt end. I apologize. I have to run to an airport and pick up my kid. So thank you all for playing, and thanks anyone for watching. We'll bring this to a close.